Hello guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Minecraft Castles and Cities. Today we're going to be taking a look at this lovely little castle, Klčova Hrad. But before we get all the way over there, we're going to take a look at, the path leading up to the castle, because I think it's important for setting the scene. So when you spawn into the world, you'll get, you spawn in around this little bench here, and you'll see the sign pointing the way. Along this path is a little cart carrying stuff, important for setting the scene. And what I wanted here was essentially this little patchwork farmland where the middle farm is being taken up by a farmer's market, like a little fair. So if we look around, say some of the farms on the outside here, we can see that there are, what you might expect. So there's horses, an old cart that isn't being used. There is, of course, always an outhouse. You gotta maintain your cleanliness. Little wood chopping. Here we have a herb garden. So we can see that they're growing little herbs, maybe something like parsley, sage, chamomile. Coming in here we have this little farmhouse. Simple furnishings, but it's got what you'd need. And even a little doghouse. And they can come in to here, basically, this little farming area. And it even has a little path down to the river. So if you wanted to wash your clothes, say, get some nice little fresh water. And of course, you can come all the way up to the little windmill here. Well, I say little, it's pretty big for the scope of this place. But you can see that they're milling grain down here. And up here you can see the grindstone, where they're actually doing the work. And you can see the gears where it basically where the spinning causes it to transfer into a little rotation that grinds all the wheat. Looks like it's starting to rain here. Let me just clear this weather. There we go. So let's come into this farmer's market actually. So you can see that there's still little bits all around the edges, especially where there's still like they didn't completely like re-plow the field. It's still little bits of farmland and stuff. But you can see that people have set up all these little exhibitions, basically these little market stalls. So this guy's selling weapons. If we come through, you can have a hot meal, a little hot pork chop, or maybe a piece of chicken while you're waiting around. This is speaking of waiting around, it's a nice little place to sit, maybe with your pork chop. Or maybe you just bought a live chicken, some cookies, pies. You can see they even have their own little banner here. This guy's selling honey, barrels of apples over there. Armor, of course, clothing, things you need day to day. Here we have all sorts of different sizes of pumpkins. And all these guys that are coming into town are going to be basically waiting up here in another little place that you can tell used to be a farm. Basically, and it's now a waiting area. So they have like their livestock, they have these wagons and stuff that are just kind of sitting right above. You can see the farmland, little tents where you can close the flap for some privacy. Got your donkeys and the horses because you got to pull all these carts up. A nice big campfire, people can sit around. Yeah, it's a nice little place for all these little merchants. You can imagine this little community of people that gather around these sorts of places. And of course over here we have more farms. So this guy is not only a farmer, but he has piggies. And if we come through this lovely little garden and come down here to the side, you can see that there is, there's an unfortunate little place where you got to get them pork chops somehow, So you can see that the let's say the refuse kind of trails into the water here. And this little lake is actually connected by this little canal to the rest of it because this is old Minecraft gen, so the river was too narrow. But now that we're done with this area, let's actually come down and explore the castle. So this castle is called Klčova Hrad. Hrad coming from basically the Eastern European Slovakian word for castle, and Klčova has kind of a personal meaning that I won't super go into. So coming in here, we can see that it's there's some little between these kind of towers and these fortifications, there's little living places. So there's places for pigs, an outhouse. You can see there's stables here, a log pile. You can see that there's a little granary here. So you got to keep your granary elevated off the ground, otherwise the mice are going to get in. So having that little wooden step means that you can remove it, and basically the mice won't get all your stuff when you're in the night sleeping. Here we have just a little forge. Looks like someone's smelting some iron, maybe to make into a little sword. You see that he has all sorts of interesting weapons and hammers and stuff back there. And up here is just a simple little living quarters. You can see it's divided simply. He has a little bed on the side, and this side is more of a living place with a little smoker, so cooking his meals. If we come around here, we can see that there's actually a little back door. It's on this little rickety staircase. You can actually come up here and defend this back door, of course, because anytime you put a door in a castle, it's going to be a weakness. So coming through here, though, across this little bridge, you can see that there is a firing range, so the guards can train, spend their days doing something productive. And let's explore this tower, I guess, because I think it's the biggest out of the 3 towers that are still remaining. So here's a little common area for the guards. So you have a little table, cooking area. And here we have where they would be sleeping. So you can see that there's about 8 guards here, and 8 guards for a tower, 16 actually. Is a pretty good size for a castle that's this small, because if you actually look at how big the castle is, you can defend this place with very small amount of guards. Actually, it's not a very labor-intensive thing, and that's pretty much by design. A castle is supposed to let you defend things really easily. You can actually come back here, and there's a 3rd entrance into this place. And of course, all these trees are custom, so, back when I was doing more custom trees. But we have over here a little ruined tower, and this is basically a little being used as just like extra storage. Saying there's like little flower pots and barrels and stuff, and this barrel still has like carrots and stuff. But you might imagine that this is not a place that they're going often. And of course it's covered in like this big tarp so that the water doesn't get in and soak everything. But this place is pretty well ruined. It's been destroyed for a while, you can tell. And let's take a good fly around at the keep before we go in, actually. So you can see it follows kind of a square outline with all these little bits jutting out. But if you actually go in, you see that the middle is empty. So the middle is a cistern where they're collecting water. It's more of a donut than the kind of squarish appearance that it looks like it holds. So coming inside, we have a greeting area. On the left here is a throne room. So it's not very large, it's a pretty small castle, but it's still important to be able to express some kinds of power. And over here you have a little scribe. So of course anything the Lord says, the Lord of Klčova Hrad, has to be written down. Because that's pretty important stuff. So you want to remember those things. You want to have those stored away. And here we have a dining hall. So there's this kind of secondary table here that's more like benches, and then the Lord's table. And there's a big banner behind him on that wall, and on that wall we have a moose head mounted. And of course you have little furnaces here to keep everything toasty in the winter. Wouldn't want to get it too cold. over here we're starting to see the defenses of Klčova Hrad. So being able to shoot out onto the lake with your little bow and arrow. And you also have the entrance to this little back area. So it's important to, make sure that the king can get there without having to push through a crowd of people that are waiting to see him. Or I say the king, I really mean like a lord. This isn't necessarily where the king is going to be hanging out. Here we have a kitchen, and you can see that this, where the kitchen gets water is actually from that cistern. So they have a refuelable water source without having to leave. Here we can see that they're storing all kinds of meats and preparing things. So we have like eggs, fish, cake, little herbs. You can see that there is a recipe book here. Let's see what they got. Not sure about these recipes, to be honest. I don't know if I want to eat sand for dinner, but, harsh times, I guess. And here we have a pantry. So you got your apples, potatoes, carrots, honey. You're storing all your herbs, spices, stuff like that. Of course, you got to have the wine, the mead, the beer. You need some good drinks. And tucked away behind here is a little place for the servants to live, basically. So the servants live apart from the guards. It's not all in one. And down here we have a little ice box where you can see that there's meat and fish hanging. So make sure that stays cold throughout the summer. And if we actually come back here, you can see that this is where that little barracks was. Climbing all the way up, we can get to this level, the second level. So here we have some defenses. You can see you can go down into the courtyard there. Or when I say go down, I mean like shoot down, basically. And this wraps around this little corner. This is the level that the Lord is living on. So here we have his kind of a office slash study room. You can see that there is a outline of the castle and a little bit of the farms around it too. And if you actually look down here, you can see down there is the cistern. I'll give you a better look at that in just a bit actually. And there's another balcony here. This is less defensive. I picture it more for making speeches, so having a strong public appearance is important when you're in politics, of course. Here we have a, what's called a solar, which is just the fancy medieval name for a living room, basically. So you can imagine a little gaming table here. They may play some maybe chess or checkers. You gotta have your bookshelf, little fireplace keeps the place warm, lively, these nice big windows. And it's a place to relax, hang out with the family. Over here we have the bathroom. So you can see that there's hanging towels. There's a little toilet down there. Okay. Okay, enough of that. And coming over here we have a bath with a nice open window and a little bit of lavender planted. These are actually alliums. They're retextured. I'm using the FWIP texture pack because it's what I had used when I built this a couple years back, but I don't really use it much anymore. And if we come over here, we can see the bed, and the bed is not made. It looks like someone threw the sheets all over the floor. But this is the bedroom. Of course, we have clothes, his and hers. He has a crown, of course. It's important to project these kinds of things. Looks like he's writing some kind of book. And again, we have the windows open, letting in a nice summer breeze. So that about does it for this floor. We have just one more real floor to go up. This floor is more... Well, this isn't for the Lord, really, as much. So here we have a little chapel, just a place to pray, or, you might have a tender moment here if you just want to get away from everyone. An armory, kind of semi-closed off there. Here we have that tower that you can see from the outside, the one that sticks out of the castle a lot. And you can see it's not very well used. It's kind of falling apart. You know, these things are expensive to maintain, you know, a big old castle like this. So you gotta put your priorities somewhere, and towers like that are gonna be an easy place to cut budget. Here we have laundry, of course. Gotta take care of the family and make sure all that's done. We have a nice little hallway here. This is a bedroom, so you might imagine some kind of officer or knight being up here, maybe even the son of the Lord. And if we come up here, I know this place kind of goes on forever. If we come up here, we have another little balcony. You can get a good view of that windmill there. You can see the windows are casting nice little shadows in this hallway. So this is mostly storage, you know, things you don't super care about. And this is down where that staircase came up earlier. And we can follow that up in a bit, but I'll just show you what else is going on here. So, oh, that's the end of it actually. So I guess that is it. It's a pretty small level. So let's go up actually. Coming all the way up here, we can see that this is where the flag is. Yes, it looks majestic, doesn't it? And of course you have a chain for raising and lowering it. I promised that I'd give you a look at the cistern. So here's what that actually looks like. It's semi-covered to make sure that, like, not too much stuff falls in here, like leaves and gunk. But in here you can see this is the intake for the kitchen, where it's actually piping that stuff for freshwater use. It looks like I actually missed something, so let me just dip back in here for a second. All right. So this is basically it. It's the top of this tower is separated into this room, which is kind of a chill hangout library spot. Whoops. And this room, which is the treasury. So it's not a very large one, but it's important to kind of put this stuff at the very top of the castle because it's really hard to get to. Imagine like if you stole that and you had to run out of the castle. Okay, well, you're coming down 1, 2, 3 flights of stairs. You're coming all the way around here. You're going through all these rooms. Someone's definitely going to catch you. If you're trying to come all the way out to leave through the front door, that is a very long path. So it's a pretty good place to put it actually at the top of that tower. And that's about going to do it for Klčova Hrad. So this is a really nice little castle. I say little, I guess it's a pretty decent size, to be honest. It uses this kind of whitewash style with the green roofs that I think is pretty nice and unique. And it's definitely nice to look at with shaders. It's on the water, so you get these nice reflections. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. So this was episode 3 of Minecraft Castles and Cities. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe maybe. And you will see me in episode 4. Not sure what we're going to do for episode 4. You might even get to see a city for the first time in this series. So it'll be living up to its name. But anyway, see ya.